Curtis Trent, Curtis Trent, running for House seat District 133.
Which party?
Republican.
Okay. What issue is most important to you as we head into November?
Well, I think the issue that's probably most important to all of us right now is COVID and how that's affecting our society, what our long-term response to that will be. And I think it's very important, as you well know, when government reacts to a crisis, it reacts with the protocols and the personnel and the resources that are available at the time the crisis occurs. And then once the crisis is abated, you have a period where you reset, where you learn lessons, and you try to figure out what to better do when a situation like that arises in the future. So I think it's very important that especially individuals like the Governor Parson, who has seen the longitudinal effects of how government has responded to this crisis, be retained in the upcoming election cycle, so that when we go through that resetting phase, we have people with firsthand experience of what went right, what went wrong, and we're able to update our protocols and procedures to try to better handle these kinds of situations in the future.
What are we doing wrong right now, if anything, and what will you do differently if you're reelected?
Well, it's really difficult for a member of the legislature to sort of armchair quarterback an ongoing crisis. I think that as we work through the issues that we have right now, we will go into oversight mode in the legislature. We will have committee hearings. We will evaluate agency responses, and that will give us a better idea of what needs to be done. Some of that process has already begun as we began to get federal money to respond to COVID. Some of that money has been allocated. More of it will need to be allocated as time goes on. But I don't think that in the middle of a response is the time to say this could have been done better, this was done very well. I think you need to really be able to look back and see from a longitudinal viewpoint what has happened.
What do you believe is most important to the district?
People in Southwest Springfield and the 133rd District generally care about pro-life issues. They care about the Second Amendment. They care about having a low tax, very pro-business environment. They want good family supporting jobs. And these are the kind of things that I have supported during my time in the legislature and will continue to support. Economic development is very important to Springfield and to our area. And frankly, there's always a lot more that can be done in that area. We've done a good job with economic development, but I think we need to continue to look for ways to improve. We need to, especially in the environment we're in now, look at ways that we can bring industry and jobs back from overseas and resettle those jobs in Missouri, and particularly in Southwest Missouri.
What do you believe is top of mind for voters right now? Economy, race, or COVID-19, which is the biggest concern, and how would you address it?
I think COVID-19 is probably the top of everyone's concern right now, but I'd say that the economy factors into that because part of the impact of COVID on our society has been the prolonged economic disruptions. And the changes in our economy. More things are done via telecommuting. More commerce is engaged in online. Even education, people are experimenting with ways to send kids to school via remote electronic access. And so I think we need to really sit back and think about how all these different things have worked, how they haven't worked, how we can make them better in the future. And I think also our healthcare system plays into that response as well. We may need to rethink things like nursing homes and hospitals where people are crowded together in tight wards and they may be exposed to each other. Are there ways that we can minimize and mitigate the risk that COVID has shown some of these medical facilities have? So I think that's what I hear the most when I talk to individuals in the district and around the state.
How would you reassure the voters that you'll fight for what they want?
Well, I would encourage voters to look at my record. I have 4 years that I've been in office. There are 4 years left to go if the folks will send me back. We have a very extensive voting record. The things that I have always campaigned on are the things that I've supported in the legislature, and I think that record speaks for itself.
Why run for office?
I have always been interested in public service. I think that our government depends on individuals who are willing to step into roles of public service, to represent the communities that they live in, to provide that government of, by, and for the people. And anyone who has an interest and a ability to do that, I think, has a civic responsibility to get involved. And that's why I've always been engaged.